How do folks, David here with another video, and as you've seen from the title on the thumbnail, we are going to be revisiting the flat earth model. Now, it's got to be said, I am quite amazed at how many casual visitors seem to pop by when I do a video like this. So if it's your first time here, hi, have a look round, check out the other videos. There's loads of modelling ones, apart from a couple of ones dealing with the flying cake stand. If you like what you see, hit the subscribe button because there's going to be plenty more stuff coming. Speaking of visitors to the channel, a couple of points of order. First of all, dealing with something flat. Yes, as soon as I have got this video out of the way, that shelf is getting replaced, so please leave me alone. I'm going to sort it, alright? The second thing to bear in mind, a little bit more importantly, is that this is primarily a wargaming and modelling channel. Yes, it is great that people are popping by and leaving comments. Yes, I love wargaming, but that does not mean that the comment section is a personal battleground for people to start levelling accusations or making disparate comments. I'm not going to tolerate that. I will start removing them. Now, everyone is welcome here, regardless of what their personal beliefs are. I haven't particularly aired what my beliefs are, but some people have been maybe a little bit accusatory in what they believe my beliefs are. Please don't. This is a modelling channel. It is not a place for things like politics or religion or any other forms of belief like that should realistically be discussed. Now, all that being said, yes, there do appear to be two separate camps of people that are arriving and leaving comments. Those who believe in a flat earth, I will be perfectly honest, have come, they have stated their case, and have simply left it at that, and have been very polite and personable about it. People from the other camp, however, could perhaps think twice before they hit enter. To use an example, Will Duffy, who has just come back from the Antarctic, where they have taken observations and they have debunked the Gleason's map of the flat earth model, is very much of the belief that the earth is round and has stuck by that, and that's the reason why he organised this big trip down there. Good on him. But because he is a religious man, there are other views where they may differ from what other people believe, and he has said so publicly. Suffice to say, there is room for points of view from all points of the compass, really, which brings us, and quite nicely, to what we are going to be doing with the flying cake stand today. So, just to give a quick recap, this is going to be the base of our model. Now, the first thing I do need to do is give it a good clean up because it's been a bit grubby from storage. I will get that done. Now, in the comment section of some of the previous videos, some people have left some very helpful comments and advice on measurements and things like that. So the first thing that we are going to do is actually work out where the sun should be. Now, even though, yes, the final experiment has debunked the Gleason's model, unfortunately nobody has come forward with a new version or pointed me in the direction of anything like that. So it is the Gleason's map that we are going to be continuing on with, and we will take measurements on this flat round thing as if it were the Gleason's map and work out, obviously, where the North Pole is. We know where the southern ice wall is, and we'll be able to mark on where the equator and tropics and the distance to various countries are. Now, the one thing that appears to be a bit of a bone of contention is that people who ascribe to the flat earth model can't tell whether or not the sun is supposed to be outside the dome or is contained within it. So that is what we are going to be essentially working out in this video. There is of course also the possibility that the dome that I have here is the wrong shape. If you have a look at this animation, it shows, you know, a far more shallow dome. Maybe that is correct, maybe it's not. But this is what I've got to work with, so this is what I'll use to start off with. Now, luckily, I am living in a country which is way south of the equator and the tropics, and what I did a couple of days ago was take some measurements at high noon to get the apparent angle of the sun from where I am down in New Zealand. Why did I do that? Well, it's a very simple experiment. It is demonstrable reality. I believe I've heard that term knocking around. The sun is something that I can see from the ground, so I should be able to work out where it is on the model based on the observation and angle, because at the moment, with it being the height of summer here, we are still very close to the winter solstice, which means the sun is real close to us. It's down at the tropic.
My humblest apologies. I should have said summer solstice. I'm used to the winter solstice being associated with Christmas, which is just past, because I am originally from the Northern Hemisphere, as you can tell by the accent.
Alright, hopefully you can see this. The time is 1:38 down here in New Zealand. You might be able to see the gate. And it's bright and it's very windy. Now I'm going to try and do this in one take. My apologies if you're getting an awful lot of wind noise from the camera. But there's nothing that can be helped about that. Now what I am going to do is a very quick experiment. I am going to check the sun angle. It is just a fraction after high noon, or solar noon, here in New Zealand. And I've got a block of wood, and what I am going to do is just get it as perpendicular as I possibly can. Okay. And then measure the length of that shadow so we can get an apparent sun height. Oh, look, caterpillar. Oh, come on, sun. Come back. Close enough, 4 inches. Oh, that's better. Or 10.2 centimeters. Yeah. 10.2 cm. Alright. Now, the length of that is 28 cm from block. Oh, 11 inches. 11 inch. Alright, so the idea behind this, because we know the length of the shadow, we know the length of the block of wood, that will give us an angle to the sun. We can work out from those measurements what this angle is just here, and we can apply that to our model. Alright, horrible nasty maths time. We've got a right angled triangle and we've got the length of two sides. So that means that we can work out essentially any of the angles inside plus the length of the other one. I'm going to use the inches measurement because 4 and 11 are nice round numbers. So the angle that we're after is angle A, and to get that we need the length of side A and side B, A being 11 inches, B being 4 inches. So the tan of angle A equals A divided by B. Therefore, angle A equals the arctan, or the inverse tan, of the total of A divided by B, which, when we run it through a calculator, means that angle A equals 70.02 degrees. Now, I found an online sun position chart, and just having a look at what the apparent angle of the sun should have been at high noon from New Zealand on the 4th of January when that was filmed, we've got an angle of 69 degrees. Now, I'm not sure whether or not they take it from the top, the bottom, the centre, what have you. 69, 70, close enough. I'm happy with that measurement. Now, I'm going to pause there for a second and talk about close enough before everyone starts getting all butt hurt. I'm a modeller, not a scientist. I deal in different scales of things, and I'll show you an example of how things have to be close enough for a modeller. If you wanted a scientist, go find one, get them to do far more accurate measurements than I am able to with a simple block of wood. This is an example of scale. It's a pair of tweezers, you can see them perfectly clearly. Now, a toy soldier scale that I normally work at, which is round about 1 to 56, something like this on a model would be round about 1 millimetre in length. At a distance of about 3 foot across the gaming table, you're not going to even see it. And if you do realise it's there, you're going to need a magnifying glass to tell that it's actually a pair of tweezers. Okay? If you want something like this, you've got to make it bigger, you've got to make it stand out. But for the purposes of modelers, it is close enough. But here we are dealing with a model which is on a planetary scale, where even the width of a pencil line can be the difference in a couple of 100 kilometres. So is this going to be an inch perfect accurate representation? No, it's not. It's going to be close enough. So what measurements are we talking about that are close enough? I'm going to use 70 degrees for that angle because it's close enough. We're going to say that the sun position was over the Tropic of Capricorn, even though I was about a week and a bit late from the summer solstice in filming it. It's close enough. Should I have taken that measurement at the point of high noon as opposed to 5 minutes afterwards? Yes. 5 minutes of movement of the sun at this scale doesn't mean anything. It's close enough. And to be perfectly honest, the only reason why I didn't get it done exactly on high noon was because it was too windy and the camera got blown over for the first take. What are you going to do? Moral of the story, close enough is good enough. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's get this cleaned up, start putting some markings on it and start making some accessories. Right, we're at the work table and I have cleaned it up a bit. It's not perfect, but it has scrubbed up quite nicely. Now, the first thing that we need to address is, well, gravity. Obviously, because they say we can't go outside the dome, we can't actually check to see what's underneath us. And I've certainly heard that rather than gravity being a thing with two masses sort of like attracting towards each other, the reason why things fall down is because we're actually accelerating upwards. So, just to take that into account, I'll use a little bit of artistic license and I will make sure that that is included in the model. So, I fired up the hot glue gun. 1 inch in there. 1 inch in there. Now it's a proper flying cake stand. There you go, now it's a proper flying cake stand. May not look like much, but from what I hear it'll apparently do less than 12 parsecs on the Kessel Run. Alright, so I have reattached the engines because they were a bit wonky. They look better. Happier with them now. Right, I have already taken a measurement of the diameter, as you can see, and it is 26 centimetres from one edge of the ice wall to the opposite edge of the ice wall. So that means from North Pole to the South Pole, we're talking 13 centimetres. So let's move the camera angle and we'll start marking things off on here. Okay, I popped some white paper underneath just so that I can see the pencil marks a wee bit better, because obviously it's quite a dark background. From north to south it is 13 centimetres, which means that our equator should be 6.5. So let me just get a line drawn on like that, and then 6.5 is just there. E for equator, and what did I work it out as? So from the equator, 1.95 centimeters is the Tropic of Capricorn, right there. T for Tropic. And from the equator, 3.4 centimeters is where I am in New Zealand. Right there in Z. Okay, I'll take a photo from above so that you can see the markings properly. Now that we've got it marked out, I can start adding some props. What are they? Well, first of all, I've just got a nice arrow there so that you can tell where I am in New Zealand. Hopefully you can see those markings still on there. And I want to give a quick shout out, and I hope I pronounce this correctly, to a chap who left a comment on a previous video, Proper Kernow. Now he actually gave me some dimensions for this model, and one of the things that he said was that from what he had been told, or from what he'd read somewhere, the diameter of the flat Earth was 2400 miles, which means pole to pole it's 1200, and the height of the sun was at 3000. Okay, so I've extrapolated those out, and on the scale of the model that we have here, that sun height, there we are, nice little sun, comes out at 35 mil. Now, just by adjusting those calculations for the distances that I did with the block of wood, I would make the height at round about 40 mil, so not much higher than that. So Proper Kernow, wherever you got those figures from, they're good enough, certainly for the scale of this model. But what it does mean is that we can very categorically say that the sun is inside the dome. So what we can say is that people like myself, or Joe Hanvey, who is another person who has been pointed out to me as making a flat earth model, we've got the shape of the dome wrong. It's either like this, and the sun and moon are inside, or it's really, really shallow and it's outside. So that does throw a little bit of a curveball in. Do I need to make a new dome? Well, you know what? I'm gonna have to call a halt to this video here. This is not a result that I was expecting. I will be honest, I was expecting something far more like Joe Hanvey's model, where, you know, the position of the sun was going to be above the dome, and then we would be dealing with things like refraction and shadows and things like that, and we'd be able to take a look up from the underneath, get a sort of ground level view. But yeah, it looks as if both Joe and myself have got the shape of the dome wrong, or we have very incorrect ideas about where the position of the sun should be, and it's inside, not outside the dome. Well, there you go. So I am going to have to get my thinking cap back on. Hopefully, if people have any ideas, you know, you'll leave a comment down below. Give me some kind of pointer on the next direction to take. Obviously, if you want to see more content like this, please do hit the subscribe button, share it around. That's me officially puzzled. Until next time, ta-da!